Well, hello, friends. Glad you could join us. Welcome to what is going to be slightly a different Monkey Mafia Esports season race here. It's freaking wet out here in Australia. Only 13 cars on the grid. We're going to have a little bit of fun here just because why not? I'm a couple of drinks in already. There's 13 cars. We got to make the best of it somehow. So, on the pole, very wet here, giggity, is that of Scornsy. He actually came 4/10 sooner than Reimer in second. It took him a minute and 15 seconds at .9 to be able to come across the line there. Reimer finished 4/10 after he did. Only about 6/100ths after that is Capitan in third. Fourth is Ronnie, only about a half a second slower. Ayahuasca, 5th. 6th is Gab, 7th, Slayer Eyes, 8th, Charlie Golf, 9th, TNR Blade. The Willies, the Wet Willies here, 10th and 11th. And then of Jacob and Anime Boy, 12th is Gundolf, and then 13th, rounding out the field, is that of Frenchie. The Albert Park circuit here in Melbourne, Australia, doesn't usually get as wet as it does tonight. But here we are. It's absolutely pissing it down. And tell you the truth, this ought to be fun. This is a very difficult track to even stay correct at in the normal conditions, so these fellas are going to have their hands full. It's going to be really wet and slippery and loosey-goosey all night long, pretty much, from what I understand. I do not know if we're going to get any dry running in. What I do know is this. So basically, Reimer tonight, if we look at the point standings, wherever the thing is, tell you the truth, I actually have no idea where to find the genuine point structure. I'm assuming 32 points for a win, 29 points for second, so give or take 3 points between winning and not winning. Realistically, Reimer does have 63 minus 45 back to Ayahuasca, 263 minus 245. That gives us a number of 18 points. So realistically, Reimer could exit the race here with a pretty good chance of winning the title next time out. Essentially, you just got to cross the line here if you're Reimer. That's all you have to do, because basically Ayahuasca is already 18 points back. The most amount of points you can make up in a Grand Prix is, 32, I believe, maybe 33 if there's a fastest lap bonus. I actually have no idea where in the Discord to find the point structure. That's okay, though. Sometimes not having the answers is more fun than having the answers. But yeah, 13 cars on the grid tonight. This may turn into a podcast. This may definitely be on the territory of not even PG-13 at some points, because we're just going to frickin' send it and call it good. I'll allow myself one F-bomb per cast if we're going to be PG-13. We'll make it happen. That's just because, honestly, yeah, that's all right. Here we go, then. The lights are coming on here, and hopefully they all get themselves into the first corner well enough. Scornsy on the outside is off the line first. It's absolutely pissing it down now as they make their way towards the first corner. He has cleared Reimer. Capitan and Ronnie side by side. Oh, and the Mercedes. Oh, I thought he was going to have a trip to the barriers there. That car was right about perfect cockeyed to the side there. And as they make their way heading towards turn 3, it looks as if everybody has calmed their tits for the time being. Oh, maybe not. Ayahuasca nearly, I thought for a second there, went clean into Slayer Eyes' ass there. Pause. But as they make their way out of the corner, it does certainly appear like now, potentially, at least, everything... Oh, I was going to say is calmed down. The Haas is pissed it into the barriers. Anime Boy there, I think, has got wing damage as well. It's all hell is breaking loose now. And we got a virtual safety car as coming out at turn 5, or actually, matter of fact, going in towards turn 5. One of the Willies there was side by side with the Haas of Gundolf. And that Haas went... I think actually... okay, let me see if I can remember this correctly. The Williams had hit the wall on the outside, going in through turn 5. I believe, was it the Williams... it must not have been Anime Boy. Was it Jacob? I'm just trying to see which one has wing damage. Honestly, it doesn't appear that either... Okay, well, Jacob does have a little bit on the left side. So that Williams car bounced across after hitting the wall and did get into the right side of Gundolf. King Pro Player has decided to not join the session on time, and so he will not be able to race here, which honestly. I'm not going to lie to you. I could have been in a car tonight, but I do not play this game at all. I have spent more time on F1 2020 career mode this year than actually driving in this game, so probably not the best idea. Scornsy will lead the first lap, albeit under yellow. Everybody on the full wet rubber here. And I assume it's going to stay that way for some time. We're back to green flag racing. Reimer in second, trying to find his way right up Scornsy's back here, potentially in towards turn 3. I'm not entirely sure, again, if Reimer's going to be able to have an opportunity to just get at him here, because realistically, there's hardly any positions of this circuit to make a genuine overtake attempt, and without DRS, it really is going to come up to who just absolutely screws up the least here. Charlie Golf and Ayahuasca side by side now. Remember, Ayahuasca realistically needs to just finish this race here, and it'll go in towards next round, that championship finale. Charlie Golf has decided to do some off-roading, forgot to actually keep it on the tarmac, and has lost a couple of spots. Capitan is going to be overtaken by Ronnie here down his inside. He's gotten a little bit of action there going. The Mercedes in question. He's 3 seconds behind the top two. I tell you what, it's looking a pretty good battle this for the time being. Two of the most talented drivers I've seen in a good minute in a virtual F1 car, although that's not really saying that much, I'll be honest with you, but for what it's worth, not for nothing. As they exit these final couple of corners here, Scornsy follows in behind. Old Reimer got a little slidey coming off that final corner. And down the pit straight they go. TNR Blade, is he in the pit lane or is he just losing spots? I think it is definitely the second option. Something has not gone correctly with that car. Exiting turn 2. This is where it might get interesting, because let's say Scornsy, potentially... I was going to say, if he potentially had a bit of a send into that braking zone, it was never going to happen. Oh, but bit ballsy here from Slayerized. He's going around the outside of Capitan. And he'll be able to have it if he sticks with it. Capitan is not quitting yet, exiting 4 and in through 5, and Slayerized does make the best of that one, although he nearly pisses it away exiting turn 5 on that exit curb. That just throws people for a loop every single time. Remember, the next round of the season is the final round as well, in which we head to the Suzuka International Racing Course in Japan. We could very much have 2 wet Grand Prix to end this season. It's definitely possible. I think that, Japan, usually, when is the last time we've seen a rain race in Australia in real life? It's been quite a while. In Japan, that's like a yearly occurrence pretty much. TNR Blade is giving it a good send on Anime Boy there. Anime Boy slaps him on the rear end real quick and just says, alright, you can have that one for now. I'll have it back here in a minute. And while I say that, he has lost immediately about a second to the back end of the Red Bull here. Scornsy now has the fastest lap. Reimer's turning some good corners, but Scornsy's just got more pace for the time being. Remember, here in Monkey Mafia, Parc Ferme is turned off. So these guys would have had a little bit of a couple minutes there to dick around with their setups as much as they can. To be able to, adhere to the wet weather. And look at these guys right next to each other going through turn 5 now. So difficult to be able to get right, and one car decides to, run out of talent, and then that collects both of them, and then they're both done out of the Grand Prix, and it's the Mercedes of Ronnie that will take it. Through turn 8, through what would be the DRS section, but the heavens have decided to give us a middle finger and have absolutely pissed it down with rain the whole time. And again, it seems like that's going to be the case here throughout the entirety of the Grand Prix. Maybe do we see somebody get a little bit ballsy and try the intermediates? I'm hoping so. That would be pretty fun if we did. Heading in towards turn 11. It doesn't look like anybody's going to be ballsy enough to try anything there. You don't need to either at this point in the race. You really don't. I will say this, though. Despite it raining as heavy as it is, the puddling is very minimal. Usually when we think about full wet weather, we do see quite a lot of puddles forming on the circuit. There is some here and there, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do get some intermediate tire running. You know, these wet weather tires do evacuate a lot of water and try to keep the racing surface as usable as they can. Of course, it is still absolutely raining heavily here for the time being. But maybe will somebody try it. You know, again, for the time being, it is absolutely soaked. However, again, you could see visibly that racing line is being formed in and around the circuit. Scornsy's still about a 1/10.5 behind Reimer, unless does he go for something here? Through turn 6. Nah, maybe not. Didn't think so. A little surprised he's not using any more of his energy store. Reimer is pretty much used all of it there. He either is using it defensively or he does not seem confident in the car's straight line ability, which again, this circuit does use a good amount of downforce, which Reimer would have been prepared for anyway. And then naturally it's raining out as well, so a little bit softer suspension. Maybe stiffen some anti-roll bar and get some downforce in there, and you know, you're not looking too bad. Although, oh, who is it that just pissed it away? It's Gab. Okay, oh, and Ayahuasca's gone around a well. And damn, it appears now genuinely Ayahuasca, this is not looking too good for him. Let's just say this, he has kept it going, thankfully for him. That was nearly catastrophic there for the V-Carb, because again, legitimately, coming out of that 9th and 10th corner, there's so many things that could go wrong. Gab and Ayahuasca just found 2 of them, it looks, and now Ayahuasca is going to get gutsy here, go around Gab. I think this Gab does have wing damage, though, that I am noticing just now. He will not try to tough this one out and he'll enter the pit lane immediately, which in fairness in the wet is not a bad idea whatsoever. I'm not trying to take the piss either. I think that's just kind of how it is. In the dry, I would have absolutely tried to keep that one going, but yeah, it's probably just best you pit here. You'll be at the ass end of the grid, but at least a safety car is probably going to happen at some point. Half a second between the top 2, and already we're seeing the men separated from the boys here, potentially. Well, I don't mean that like that. Basically, what I'm saying is that we are seeing a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? There's a lot of time in between the cars behind them. Currently, the closest battle on track is between the top 2. And for what it's worth, Ronnie is about 4.5 seconds behind. Slayer Eye's 4.5 behind him. Slayer Eye's 1.7. Charlie's actually going to potentially have a look at Capitan here if Cappy's not too careful. Exiting the final corner, you could see they're absolutely Tokyo drifting it around those final couple of corners. Well, that would have been a fitting analogy for next week when we do head to Suzuka. For now, it's just a movie reference. I'm going to be honest with you, as much as I like motorsports and other cars... Oh, Anime Boy, no way! It's only a virtual safety car. That guy has binned it. Going out of 6 and 7 in through 8 is a very odd position of the track. And the full safety car will be coming out here. So naturally, as we expected, somebody's pissed it. And Anime Boy has retired. That will bunch things up now that the safety car is on track. Ayahuasca in, full wets for him. Jacob's coming in, I think probably full wets for him as well. Of course, there's no, what's the word I'm looking for? And a front wing. There's no requirement. Oh, it's intermediates going for Jacob. Well, I was trying to say there's no requirement for what compounds you use and how many of them. You know, as we race in the dry, and we got that rule where you got to use a different compound at least once in the race, you know? So the start of the mediums go to hards. That's not present in the wets. You could stay out on those wet tires the whole race if you'd like. Jacob has decided that he's going to go for the intermediates here. He's the only one so far that is feeling comfortable enough to do that. And honestly, guys, maybe is that an idea that we could start to look at here? I mean, again, the racing line, as you could see, is pretty dry. You know, dry enough to the point where you could probably get away with being on the inters. I think if you go offline at all, you're going to be crapping bricks there, potentially. But, now let's see. Let's see what Reimer does. Reimer's in, Scornsy's in, Ronnie is... I don't know what's going on with him. Anyway, entering the pit lane now. Let's see. Reimer will choose. Oh, Reimer's going to go for the inners as well. So now what we're seeing is either this rain is light enough for the driver's perspective to go for the inters. It's either that or it's going to get lighter here in a minute. You know, so these guys are feeling risky. A little frisky and fun here. Trying to go for these intermediate tires. As you can, again, you can see genuinely that the racing line is there. They've evacuated enough water to actually be able to make that a viable opportunity. But this is going to be so risky here, guys. I do not know. And you can see that, even more interestingly enough, not everybody is convinced that this is the best idea. TNR Blade went to the wets. Frenchie's on the wets. Ayahuasca just went for the wets as well, not too long ago, which we just saw. I mean, yeah, Gundolf is into the pit lane now. Let's see what he decides to do. And let's find out, what does he decide to do here? And what? To the hards? Okay. If anybody here knows about the 70 show, what would Red Foreman say about that potentially? Okay, that's a bit mean. I don't mean to call him a dumbass. That's absolutely not. That's definitely not on purpose. That I do not know why that's happened, unless it is. I mean, I couldn't tell you. Yeah, I would assume that's just some sort of mistake there. I don't think anyone would be silly enough to genuinely choose the hard tires in this weather. Oh, what is this? Ronnie's coming back in the pit lane here. I say coming back, he's only going in for the first time. Bit of a late decision here from the Mercedes. Slayer Eyes stays out as well. Capitan stays out. What is Ronnie doing? Ronnie's going for the inners as well. So what we're seeing now is a bit of a group think going on. Ronnie sees almost, you know, the other half of the grid go to the intermediate tires. He's like, yeah, I want to try that. Maybe it'll work. I don't know. I will say, this is the interesting thing here. Is Ayahuasca's left the session? That's not good. What I will say is this, though. When you're at a position like Ronnie, where you are, I would say, probably third best, fourth best on the grid right now, the top two guys ahead of you are Reimer and Scorzy. You got to be willing to try something. You got to be willing to throw caution to the wind here. You just have to. Because realistically, yeah, that's a bold choice there. It really is. However, at the same time, I kind of like this. I like how he's trying to go with it now. Safety car is on track. Gundolf is back in the pit lane, and I think maybe this time will he choose the grooved set of tires. Yes, he will. It'll be back to the intermediates. And he's replacing another front wing. Well, that's probably because he was on the hards in the piss and rain there, but I don't know. Anyway, Gundolf into the pit lane. Safety car is on track. I'll step aside until it sorts itself out here. Oh, the safety car is going to make its way in this lap. So Gundolf has restopped. He's put on intermediates and another front wing. I believe his third of the day. Sorry, I had to point that one out there naturally. Slayerized and Capitan lead the brigade here. Considering these are the only two fellas that did not stop under this safety car. Everybody else has stopped, half of which have put on the inters as opposed to the wets. Gab decided to retire in the pit lane. I don't really know why, but he has. He's just decided to give up today, but that's okay. Sometimes giving up is just better for everybody than carrying on and just not really being in a good place. Anyway, back to green flag racing here. Slayer Eyes will lead them down the straight. Capitan in second, making their way towards that first corner. Oh, look at Reimer. He wanted to have a peek there down the inside of Capitan, but he didn't really. He kind of had a look. Capitan's going to slide a bit high there, getting on throttle exit in two. That car was nearly hell out of shape there. As we now have a yellow flag, somebody's gone round. Scorzy will go to the inside of Charlie Golf. What a move there from Scornsy to be able to make that one happen. That's a brilliant move, and now TNR Blade was side by side there with Charlie Golf for a minute. Yeah, whatever it is, it sorted itself out, really. I think, was it Frenchie that had somewhat of a oopsie-daisy somewhere around there. Ronnie's going to try to get around Ayahuasca now. Ayahuasca to that inside of Ronnie. He's going to follow in behind the rear end of TNR Blade, and he's going to try to send it around the outside on TNR Blade, and he's absolutely going to have it into turn 9. Ayahuasca gets both of them. By the time they get to 9, that's a brilliant move there for Ayahuasca, who, again, needs to finish today, having to try to keep his championship hopes alive. Again, if Reimer pretty much escapes this race with 32 points, the gap between first and second, he is the champion. Big slide for Slayer Eyes trying to exit the 14th corner. Heavy drift going about there, as you can see the spray down this pit straight. Oh, look at this. I thought somebody was trying to move there temporarily. TNR Blade, I think, was for a second there along the inside of Ayahuasca. Jacob wanted something on the inside of Ronnie there. Didn't quite find it. Tell you what, the rain, I think, has definitely gotten manageable at this point. I don't think necessarily that being on the wets is the wrong decision, because for the time being, Slayer Eyes is making good time. I think the real question is Capitan with Reimer behind him. Because right now, Reimer is not necessarily gaining on the Ferrari. And again, the problem is what we look at here is that Capitan on those wet tires is evacuating so much water. It is making a good racing line for the McLaren and everyone else behind him. But the moment that Reimer has to go off the racing line to be able to try to get around the Ferrari, he's toasted. I tell you what, it's just not going to be able to happen. As they make their way in towards turns 11 and 12, we're almost halfway through this race. 11 cars remain out of the 13 that started. Again, the real question is Capitan to Reimer, but Capitan, for what it's worth, right up along the back end of Slayer Eyes here. I don't know if Slayer Eyes is on purpose way down to the inside, but it looked to me like he almost pissed it away coming out of 14. It's a difficult corner to take even in the dry. Of course, when you're like me and you have no talent whatsoever, everything is difficult for you, but that's okay. Ronnie gets to the inside of Jacob going through 2. Either that Williams kind of went off track there for a second, or that was just a damn right good move from Ronnie, and I don't know. That's a really difficult question, because again, that was slightly unexpected. You do not see moves through 1 and 2 that often. If anything, you're going to see it in towards probably 11 and 12. 1 is a good place to make a move if you've got clean air with you. You know what I mean? Like if you're coming off the start, if you're off the grid and barreling your way into turn 1, that is not a friendly turn 1 to go through. It really isn't. There's just no room. You got grass and gravel on the inside. You got grass on the outside. Even more so if you take the grass to the inside there through 1 and you overshoot it, you just barreled your way through 5 other damn cars. So, yeah, it's really almost more into turn 3 on that opening lap. Other than that, it's a difficult question. It really is. This track, though, I will say once again, since those renovations that had been made in 2021, whenever the hell it was, has been just such a rejuvenated circuit to race on. This is just genuinely so fun now. I remember this was like almost dreadful to come race at because of just how little overtaking there was, but now it's actually quite fun. Charlie Golf there coming out of that final corner had a bit of a slide. Ayahuasca, again, I will say though, is actually looking pretty good on the... See, this is what's confusing me here, because we've got Charlie Golf, who is, I think, visibly struggling with the car right now. Ayahuasca on those intermediate tires. Ayahuasca's on the wets and is closing in the Charlie Golf. Then we look at the top part of the grid. Slayer Eyes is turning good laps. Capitan is turning okay laps, but Reimer on the intermediates is definitely closing in on Capitan. I don't know what this is. Is it a skill issue? Is it something else? Is it a setup thing? I don't really know. But what I can tell you is that for the time being, it's kind of like there's just not one right answer. Which, I don't know, some drivers like being able to have that freedom of choice, really. Some drivers like being able to have the benefit of, you know, going from one tire to the other and being able to work with it. For the time being, Slayerized appears to appreciate that. Reimer certainly does as well on those inters, as Capitan was slightly slow coming off of 11 there. Capitan's going to push onto the curb, exiting 13, and I tell you what, Slayerized is really starting to pull away with this one, unless can Reimer reel his way back in here and give us a good fight. Capitan swerves a little bit to the inside. That did really nothing in the grand scheme of things, I'll be honest with you. Though, Reimer, despite I say him closing in, I'm kind of lying to you almost, because he's not really, I think definitely in braking and in through these kind of medium to slow speed corners, Reimer is, I think, definitely doing a little bit better. But the moment they got onto the straight, Capitan is doing just fine. You know, he's keeping Reimer behind him. Scornsy isn't really coming up close to Reimer, like, whatsoever. Ayahuasca's about 3/10 away from Charlie Golf. Charlie Golf is definitely struggling right now. That car looks like just genuinely just a total monster to try to muscle here. Ayahuasca, oh, does he want to send it into 9? No, that would have been funny if he did. Coming out of the curb, exiting turn 10. Ayahuasca, can he send it now? Oh, he's going to have to brake really, really deep here. Nope. Couldn't quite. Oh, but look at this. Charlie Golf gets into the gravel, exiting the corner. Ayahuasca can't capitalize, I'm afraid. But again, that Sauber's all over the road at the moment. As we have a yellow flag, the Ferrari of Frenchie's gone off behind them. Slayerized, oddly enough, is into the pit lane. Has Slayerized hit something? Or is he just going for the inters? It doesn't appear that this is a planned stop here. It will be intermediate tires for Slayerized. I think he thinks that this rain is going to get lighter, because he was pulling some great time on those wets. I don't know why he's decided. Oh, Ayahuasca has gone off. He's come out of turn 2. Something has gone drastically wrong there. No, I think he... Oh, this is so odd. Ayahuasca has retired on track? What, like, what the fuck is the point of that? You could win a champ. You could stay in the battle for a championship tonight. That car is moving. Has he genuinely just decided that, nope, I don't want to do this anymore? Because, I mean, legitimately, that almost hands Reimer the championship now. I mean, that's exactly what it does. If Reimer finishes this race, he's the champion. Oh, hang on. Ayahuasca has said something here in the Discord at approximately right now. Oh, he said it in Spanish. Okay, this is where it gets difficult here. Capitan entering the pit lane. Okay, so Capitan is in. He's going for intermediate tires. Let's try to analyze what Ayahuasca is saying to Charlie Golf here. Estás cabrón. La próxima vez salte de medio de pana. I do not know what that means. Let's plug it into Google Translate. Because whatever it is, he's not happy. Spanish to English. Next time... What? Next time, jump out of the middle of the corner, I'm assuming. Although why he said corduroy is a little odd. Corduroy, isn't that something they make jeans out of? Oh, he's supposed to say, y gracias por joderme la carrera. I can't roll my R's as well, I apologize. Y gracias por joderme la carrera del campeonato. I don't know what this means. Hang on. And thanks for screwing up my championship race. So, ayahuasca is essentially... This is fantastic. I wish we had more of this. As you can tell now, the intermediates are going to become the favorite tire here in, not that long, because the rain has gotten a lot lighter. Ayahuasca has just publicly shamed Charlie Golf in Spanish in the group chat, and I think that's fantastic. More of that, please. I don't know, does Charlie Golf speak Spanish? Because I don't think Ayahuasca would have said something to Charlie Golf if he didn't. Or is like that in Spanish. I'm not sure. That's funny, though. Once again, I severely apologize to my Spanish-speaking friends for that absolute botch job of a Spanish pronunciation. I have tried my best. Okay, so, coming up on 10 laps to go here in a minute. Well, as Charlie Golf is up along the along the outside of Jacob here. At least he was temporarily. Slayer Eyes to the inside of TNR Blade now. He's taking that spot even before turn 11, and what we're starting to see now is those on the wet tires are now suddenly becoming the runt of the litter as far as the pace differential on the circuit. Matter of fact, as I say that, in comes Jacob. He has certainly found that to be true. But now, once again, we find ourselves with less than a half a second between the top two. Three and a half tenths between Scornsy and Reimer. Ronnie's got a 3-second penalty. That's not good. Where has he done that at? Has he gone off, well, not off, but near that George Russell corner, pretty much? He's decided to go a little bit too far outside the white lines there, potentially, huh? You sneaky little goose. Two-tenths of a second between Ronnie and Charlie Golf. Ronnie actually, by the way, mention of shame here, the only driver on the grid with 3/10 of a second, 3 seconds of time penalty. That car nearly found several walls there, getting on the throttle, exiting 11. Again, though, battle for the lead, with now 10 laps remaining. 2.5 tenths of a second. This one is going to come down to the damn wire here. Exiting 2. No DRS because it's raining. Down the DRS section, heading towards 3. Reimer will still stay ahead for the time being. And again, at least for now, it does appear Reimer's got a good handle on it, but as we think about the direct competition that Reimer is facing right now, it does have to be said that Scornsy, as I forget to watch that battle, Scornsy, I would think almost... Okay, so here's where I'm confused, right? Because Scornsy, I've seen him race for probably 4 years now, 4 or 5 years now. Probably the best driver I've ever seen, like, having commentated on a race, yeah? Scornsy also, however, has not really been having picked up this F124 game. He just hasn't. He's only recently gotten back into doing it. So, does that give Reimer the edge? Because Reimer has won championships in, what, 3 out of the 4 leagues I've casted this year? In the year of 2024, heading into 2025. I think Jag Sunday he won a title. Monkey Mafia, he's going to win the one today if he finishes. CCRL, I think he's defending champion, potentially. He definitely won it at least once. So, yeah. Pretty freaking good, if you ask me. I think this guy is definitely one to beat. Meanwhile, Ronnie... Oh, look at this. Ronnie's going to try to send it on the Sauber. And he's made it happen. Fantastic stuff there. Exit in the corner, and nobody's really going to be somewhat relatively close to that. 0.8 of a second here. The rain's still falling, albeit very, very lightly. And we have a safety car on track. The moment I don't look at the screen, Capitan has binned it somewhere. I apologize, I've missed it because I'm a dumbass, but that's okay. Well, he's done it a solo incident as well. That's what makes it odd, right? Is it coming off of turn 5 here? Yep, that's exactly what's happened. He's lost it coming out of turn 5. He's probably hit that inside wall. Okay, safety car on track, and look at this! Charlie Golf's got a drive-through. Good old-fashioned McDonald's drive-through there for speeding under the safety car, silly goose. Into the pit lane, Reimer is putting on an additional set of intermediate tires. So you know what that tells me? That... Oh! And look at this! Scornsy's putting on the mediums! Suddenly, we have a very interesting turn of events here. Because, as it turns out, Scornsy has stopped. He's gone for dry tires. Reimer on mediums. Sorry, intermediates. Idiot. Ronnie on intermediates as well. Charlie Golf, however, has gone to the softs. We have no lie. As Jacob's going to go into the grass there for some reason. We have dry and wet intermediate kind of tires on the track at the same time. What an interesting turn of events this is. We'll stay through to the end of the safety car, mostly because I don't feel like editing it, but also because it's going to be also in probably at the end of this lap. We only got 9 cars left. We'll have a quick look. Who's got penalty? Ronnie and TNR Blade both have 3 seconds. Charlie Golf's got a drive-through, having sped under the safety car. Six positions gained for Jacob. Currently along with Frenchie for driver of the day. I think at that point it'll go to Jacob for being higher up the grid. Top 2 have remained the same. It looks like we'll be starting this race back up again with about 9 laps to... Sorry, how many? 6 laps to go. Which is not a lot. You know, you could almost count that many on one hand. Just if you grew another finger, that'd be ideal. So, anyway, Scornsy will lead us back round. 23rd lap of the Grand Prix underway, of course, having the safety car on track. So it looks like we'll get back going lap 24. 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, and 29. So 6 laps of racing left when we do get the green flag. So the question is now, is this track dry enough for Scornsy and his dry tires? The problem sits at the reality that the rain is still falling. Reimer has recognized that and has gone to the intermediates. And I think what Reimer's done here, he doesn't have faith that even if it does stop raining, the circuit is going to dry up by the time they get to the end of the race. Like, he's not confident enough in the fact that the circuit will be dry by even those last, like, 3 laps, right? Because it's still raining now. So yeah, the racing line looks pretty good. Rain is still being evacuated from the intermediate tires. Scornsy is gonna be in a little bit of trouble here, I think. I'm not entirely sure I like this from him. If he stays off the curb, he'll be fine, right? It does appear the safety car will remain on track for one more lap unless it makes the decision now. Oh, hey, that was pretty good timing, wasn't it? So, this is our situation, right? We've got like 6 laps to go. The rain is still falling. The track is still obviously greasy. As you can see, Scornsy's on the medium tires. Ronnie is on the mediums, intermediates. Charlie Golf's on the softs. This is a really interesting situation here. Scornsy, out of the final corner, will lead them back to the green flag. He has not decided to go quite yet. There he goes. Reimer has caught on to that one very well. And pretty much as soon as the lap starts, the rain stops. Oh, goodness me. This is interesting. Scornsy has slid off track. Yes, he has. He slid back to the 4th spot. Oh, he's made contact there with somebody. He is tumbling down this order massively now. Back to 6th. The track is in nowhere good enough position to be on these medium tires. It's a slip and slide out there. Even the guys that are... Even Charlie Golf, who's on the softs, is having to... Oh, and he's pissed it into the barriers on the inside. It is still way too wet for the slick tires. I'm afraid for this point you could still see visibly the water being evacuated off the tires as we have a yellow flag at the back. Someone has done a thing, and I think it's Charlie Golf who has retired from the session on track. Well, that's unfortunate. That brings us down to 8 cars. But you see, this is what Reimer was prepared for. He did not have the confidence that the track was going to be dry for a respectable amount of time to actually make the stop worthwhile. Because Gundolf has gotten around Scornsy now. Scornsy on those mediums. Although, I will say, again, there could be a possibility that, you know, we get to 4 laps to go and the track is just bone dry, albeit Scornsy is not looking too comfortable out there right now. I think even then, if you're Reimer, the track gets to bone dry, you're just not going to pit. You're just not going to. Because why would you waste the time, right? Why would you do that? By the way, we're at 5 laps to go here. Reimer has only 4/10 of a second on Ronnie. Jacob behind about a second, 1.2. Slayer Eyes behind him. He's looking to get onto the podium here. Mind you, this is the battle for second place currently, considering Ronnie has that 3-second penalty to his name. Once again, the rain has... Ow. What was that? My controller fell. That was part of it. What I was going to say is that still for the time being, Ronnie is in good pace along with Reimer here, but he's just not going to be close enough, I don't think. Especially considering that he has that 3-second time penalty. Yeah, I don't know. Might be just screwed here, not going to lie. Exiting the final corner, 4 laps to go as they make their way down the pit straight. We have a yellow flag somewhere. Someone has done a bit of a spinny boy. I think, is it Slayer Eyes? Did he go off track there for a minute? He certainly seems like he could have. Yeah, surely he did, because he was battling with Jacob there for a second, and now he's down to 5th. Three laps to go with the line this next time by Ronnie. Oh. On the edge of disaster there, coming out of 5. Oh, big slide. Tell you what, again, Ronnie does not look too comfortable for the time being. 3-second penalty. By the way, let's be fair here. Is about a half a second away here from being able to keep that second spot over Jacob. Jacob's got to put together some good laps here soon if he wants to be still within range of Ronnie. Or if Jacob, picks up a time penalty, which could be possible. I don't believe Ronnie's going to be actually going for the lead here, realistically. He knows that unless Reimer absolutely dicks it in the barriers, he's just not going to win. Slayer has gotten around TNR Blade. I'd say Slayer has made a couple of good moves like that today, hasn't he? Really, really on it. 3 laps to go, and look at this. Well, this is interesting now. Because Ronnie has 3 seconds behind to Jacob. He's for the time being, going to keep second place. He's got to hope that Reimer picks up a 3-second time penalty here, and we're on level pegging for the win of the Grand Prix. No disrespect to Reimer, but for the sake of neutrality and for the sake of wanting a good race, I think I kind of want that as well. Of course, Reimer, again, 3 laps away from claiming the championship here in MMeS. I apologize for me yawning so much. Alcohol does put me to sleep. I'll tell you, be fair with you. 2.5 of a second here, Ronnie. Does he have a look? Not quite. 1/10. Still there. Oh, look at this. Ronnie's going to go for it on Reimer here. He absolutely will. Side by side, going through 11. It's still side by side now. Tell you what, good battle this. And Ronnie, again, his goal here is to force Reimer into a mistake. To be able to have Reimer pick up a 3-second penalty as well. Reimer, I think, knows that, kind of. Reimer's a very intelligent driver. I think Reimer knows that to the point of, now that Ronnie's ahead of him, he's just going to chill and drive within the lines and keep it within a 3-second gap. I mean, Ronnie, of course, only has 2 laps to be able to do that. So, yeah. Still think Reimer's going to win here, I think. Ronnie, for the time being, is absolutely going to come home in second unless he picks up another 3-second penalty. Oh, Reimer nearly lost it at a 5 there. That car, he really had to catch it. So did Ronnie, in fairness. He's gone wide. Oh, and there it is! Oh, Ronnie, you could have had second place. And Reimer's going to go for it anyway here. That is heartbreaking as Ronnie. Now, realistically, that Mercedes is going to fall to, like, 4th. From 2nd to 4th in the matter of, like, 2 corners. That is just unfortunate. But look, we're still on the intermediates here. And this is kind of what we thought, right? Because Scornsy, I think it was a mistake, genuinely. I think it was good thinking on Scornsy's part to want to go to the mediums. I think it happened probably 3-4 laps too late to have made that a good decision to go to those medium tires. Because, again, we are in dry condition now, definitely. This is fully dry. There is no more standing water. There's not even any more grease on the circuit. But there is no point to go on to the dries. Final lap of the Grand Prix underway. Reimer in the intermediates. You can see the rubber that it's actually shedding off these intermediate tires. Now, again, people do this in real life because these intermediate tires, once you do, shred the tread off of them, they do kind of create a special, like, super soft tire, really. Because, again, the tire is designed to be able to grip the road with the rain and the lower temperatures. So these intermediates will heat faster, and they will be kind of a super soft tire. They will wear quicker, as we're beginning to see. But Reimer, and this is huge for him here, only a couple of corners left. And I think it's due in part to Charlie Golf, at least that's according to Ayahuasca. Reimer's got 2 corners left. And again, he's been one of the best drivers we've seen all season. He's dominated week in and week out. Coming out of the final corner, down to the line, Reimer has won another championship here on the F1 24 game. He will win the Australian Grand Prix and the Monkey Mafia Esports Championship here. Jacob will come across the line to finish second. Ronnie will stay third, as Slayer Eyes was 2 seconds away. Ronnie was actually, for what it's worth, only 0.2 of a second behind Jacob and being able to keep second. Gundolf will be 6th. 7th will be Scornsy. 8th after that will be Frenchie. Well, guys, we still have another race left. Head of the Suzuka International Racing Course here for the final race of the season. For Hotspot, it's been a pleasure joining you along the ride this whole time. We will see you again soon next week.